Many Americans come to Britain to explore their roots, but how many do it paddling a canoe from London to Scotland, I don't know. My middle name is Forbes, and I carry a letter of greeting from my cousin Maury, the oldest member of the Forbes family in Boston, which I hope to deliver to the head of the clan in Scotland. But I'm curious what lies between here and there. I have a small video camera to help me keep a journal of the places and the people I meet. Like many naval expeditions of the past, I'm setting out from Greenwich, on the outskirts of London, but I'm heading the other way, up the rivers and canals of England to Scotland. Well, it's an amazing thing to start a canoe trip in the major metropolitan area of London, I'll say that. Usually, it's rocks, caribou, and bears that I'm looking at, not people in Christopher Wren building. Everyone has a home, a place they feel comfortable. Mine is in the wilderness of the Canadian Arctic, where I've spent much of the past 20 years, often traveling and living like a nomad. But I've reached a point in my life when I've become curious about my Scottish ancestors and the places they've come from. I also wonder what it would be like to paddle through a civilized part of the world, a place my friends wouldn't have to look up in the atlas. I want to see how nature is surviving on a crowded island, perhaps meet a few cousins, and learn more about their home. Jeez, freaking inconvenient. Coming, coming, coming. Hello, wait a minute. Hello? I have my small camera, but a 3-man film crew plans to meet up with me now and again.
Sorry, what?
And this is how they'll contact me, at least
How are you?
until I drop the phone in the water.
I'm still down here by Greenwich. I've just set out into the first bend. What? Well, I'm going to Scotland.
Ahead of me lies a journey of 500 miles through unexplored waters, at least unexplored by me. In the Arctic, I've paddled through heavy rapids, faced grizzly bears and wolves, but I've never had to dodge tour boats and water buses. I'm passing some fabulous architecture, but it's hard to appreciate. I'm too busy keeping the canoe upright. I get the feeling people here think I'm a little odd. The Thames is a beautiful blue thread stitching its way through this green landscape. You enter another dimension on water. It's magic. Nature conforms to the man-made world here. It's controlled and carefully cared for, clipped and tidy. It's beautiful, but it makes me nervous. There seem to be a lot of rules here. I see signs everywhere telling me what I should and shouldn't do. But people are happy to let me stay in their gardens, as long as I ask permission.
Well, it's a little nerve-wracking having a goose picking at your back quarters when you're trying to pack up your tent. The goose could give you a good wallop if you felt like it. And I'm hoping that he won't feel like it. Yes. Yes. Oh. Wildlife. I'm sure I could lose an eye easily if I wasn't too careful. Uh-oh. Hey, that's my camera.
Oxford was as far as I planned to travel up the Thames. I needed to transfer from the river to the Oxford Canal. I had heard there was a stream leading to a drainage tunnel that went under the town. I also heard it was overgrown, probably impassable, but I decided to give it a try anyway.
Oh, no. Well, this isn't punting, but it's even better. Oh, this is great stuff. You know, they said that I couldn't do this. But the idea isn't to do it. The idea is to try to do it. If you try, you might get it done. Oh, I don't like this. This is really dark. They say that T.E. Lawrence came through here in a pond. Whoa. Well, he might have done that. It's beautiful, though. It's so quiet. Oh, man, this is so quiet. So quiet. See, light like a keyhole. There it is. But I can't get out. I can't get out of here. They got it great. I gotta go back. I can't believe it. Oh, well. Oh, God.
Having failed to get out of town by going under it, I had to carry my canoe through it in rush hour. I didn't see an English head turn to look. I suppose they were right to be wary and probably thought the best tack was to stay out of my way, pretend I did not exist. After all, this was the town where Lewis Carroll once walked his pet lobster down the high street, where he used to teach and dream of his young Alice.
Bonjour. Comment allez-vous?
I don't know what the French kids thought of my walking through Oxford with a canoe on my head, but at least they reacted.
Oh, boy. I don't know how to do that again for a while. Oh, yeah.
I named my canoe Martlet after an unusual mythical bird that has no feet because it never needs to land, a nomad of the air. I'm a nomad too, but I'm used to doing my traveling on rivers, not canals. These look like rivers, and they're beautiful to paddle, but there's something strange in the thought man created them. One canal builder even said, the reason God made rivers was to supply canals with water. They were the superhighways of their day, but now they feel like backcountry roads.
I'm a little nervous because I don't know whether someone's going to come along and say I can't camp here. But it's hard to make my tent look like a sheep. I think tonight I'll set him up down by the bank a little bit, just because I want him a little out of sight. So, I'm either the biggest fool I know, or the happiest guy.
So far on the journey, I've always been within the sound of some type of a motor, but I've also never been out of the sight of green. Even on the outskirts of Birmingham, the canals are lined with trees. Birmingham was the heart of the Industrial Revolution, and there are more canals here than in Venice. But the canals are more decorative now. Their function shifted to moving tourists, not moving metal, coal, and chocolate.
Let me check to be sure. Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
So you want to be in TV?
Yeah. See my friends. And my friends will say, can I have your autograph?
That's right. They would. So what do you want to do when you grow up?
Clothes designer and a pop star.
And a pop star. Why not just be the clothes designer?
Because I want to get more money.
But the pop star, oh, I see.
So I can be rich.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
This new convention center is not what I expected to find in Birmingham. It looks like it belongs in Texas or California. I didn't want to lose my things while I walked around the city, so I checked them in at the coat room.
Now, I've come back again with a little bigger item, but I don't have to put it behind if I could leave it on the side here. Would that be?
That'd be fine, yes.
And I'll probably be about an hour while I look around.
In exploring the building, I found the hall where they were preparing for an evening concert. It's a place made to hold a crowd, a cup waiting to fill. Like an empty cathedral, it's more beautiful that way. I needed to forage my evening meal, a little hunting and gathering. I asked some locals where they got their food.
Can I ask someone else there? Okay. All right. Thank you.
I wasn't the only one out foraging. Everybody else seemed to have the same idea. In the Arctic, I work pretty hard to get my meals, but here, I just followed the crowd.
And
This is another side of Birmingham, more what I'd expected to find, the residue of a long slide into the present. Nature's been squeezed out. What's won is progress. But by making nature unwelcome, we've created a place nobody wants to be in, a wasteland. I'm part of what's created this. That doesn't make me like it any better. I get the feeling we've forgotten what matters most, and people don't worry about what they can't see. Why put any embroidery on it? It speaks for itself. But when you least expect it, you see a piece of nature that reminds you she can stick up for herself.
Hello.
Just to meditate on one of these mean more than anything I could say for 89 hours. If we could hear what they had to say, I'm sure a lot of the dilemmas we face wouldn't be so hard to solve. It's hard to get the news from nature.
Traveling past everyone's backyard, I see people in a more informal mood. They seem more willing to talk. Sometimes I understand what they're saying, and sometimes I don't.
Morning. All right. What's this here to you? The what? The third. I'm 72, but I still feel 20 odd at times.
I know, but the
I'll
body...
tell you the time when you can feel that way, and don't laugh about this because it's true what I'm telling you. Now, there's sometimes all you hear is birds singing away.
Isn't it great?
And you don't see anyone else
Right.
but birds.
Right.
And you feel as though you're the only one in the world. And you know, I've gone along there dancing away in the fields on my own. Anybody would think you know,
Crazy, yeah.
you weren't
Oh,
right.
but it's great.
And it's a lovely feeling. If you've never had that feeling, oh, and I've only had it since I've been retired. I never had it before.
How far are you going?
I'm going up to Scotland.
Good luck to you.
Well, you can do it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
On a map, you know, you can do it mostly.
Well, before first year I got this,
Yeah.
didn't have an engine. So
And you
so that's my engine there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I rode this.
that's my engine, and
Yeah.
it's not a polluting engine.
That's right.
Right.
And I rode it for the first 500 or 600 mile.
But you sold out to the motor.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's a bit harder work than what you're pushing.
It's a bigger boat.
When
but
the
it's-
wind gets hold of it and that, and they end up towing it along the bank,
Now, what about the little guy there? Would he be less than 8 pounds?
Yeah, it's not for sale, that one.
Oh.
Because if you look, that's this one.
Oh, it is? Can I
Yeah.
look? Can
Yeah.
If I can't own it in
So at the float. Good job, innit?
it is a good slippery job, yeah. Oh, he's great. This is the boat. Let me get off to the side here now. See, now I've got your boat, and you'd have a hard time catching me.
You visiting England, are you?
I am, yeah.
Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from the States.
Yeah, whereabouts?
I'm Boston.
Do you know, everybody I meet from the States comes from Boston.
Alive?
No, Dad.
Dead, Tony.
I'm not everyone.
Swing it back. Let this man pass. Don't swing it to him. I'll knock him into the moon. Get rid of him easy.
Well, I'm going to walk around a few of them for a while, and then when I get tired of walking, I'll paddle a little bit. Then I'll walk some more. I've just been threatened by a couple of kids. They wanted to take my camera. And there were 3 of them. It was kind of fun. They said, you know, we could steal it. I said, yeah, you could, but at least one of you would get hurt. They were on their bikes. They thought they could get it and ride away, but they thought about it twice.
Getting the letter to Lord Forbes is taking longer than I thought.
Oh, I want to have a pint. I'm walking through the locks. Yeah, I'm thirsty.
Man, you got a leather for it?
Yeah,
How high up?
they're nice.
You don't know what I mean. How high up?
He's one that's doing it.
High up?
I'm the one.
How far up?
Aberdeenshire.
Ooh, I know it.
Yeah.
Got it, it says there. Lovely. Midnight before it goes dark. Up there.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Lovely. No doubt. Lorry driver.
Uh-huh. Right. Right.
For your time.
Well, you're still in my time. We're both still here.
Well said.
God bless.
Very well said.
Oh.
I like that.
Right. Are you retired now?
Come with the wind. You're right.
Yeah.
Quite right.
Mm.
Yep. Happy days.
Mm.
No doubt.
I gotta check on my gear to be sure it's still there. I was told it might get nicked in Manchester.
Could do.
I don't know why.
Oh, it's nice. We could do. I got it, could. No doubt.
I got a lot to learn about England.
I grew up in a small town outside Boston named Manchester by the Sea. Whoever named it must have had fond memories of their home here. On other canals and the Thames, I enjoyed paddling through people's backyards, seeing their gardens, but it's pretty grim paddling through this type of garden.
Hello. Lock. Oh man, more and more of them. The Rochdale Canal passes through the heart of Manchester, hemmed in by high walls and tall buildings, a lot of garbage. Oh, not recommended canoeing.
Tired of cities, especially Manchester, I decided to hitchhike. I wasn't too far from Preston and my last canal. The film crew hid in the bushes. They didn't believe I would get a ride.
You don't buy it?
have a canoe. Can I put it on your car? It doesn't hurt anything.
No.
No? Okay. At least the dog looked back at me. Hi. Are you going anywhere near Preston?
I'll take you some other way.
Okay, that would be great.
Suppose I'm your best bet, really.
I think you've been my best bet, yeah. This guy had actually driven past me, then turned around and come back. So where do you come from? Are you here and...
Just down the road.
Aha.
Further towards Preston way.
This ride will get me to my last canal. The rivers lie ahead. Beyond them, Scotland. I'm getting closer to my goal. Oh, English nettles. It's been 4 weeks since I left London, and I'm on the last stretch of canals. I'm restless to get out of these man-made rivers. I want something with a little randomness, without all the straight lines. Hello. No, I will offer you. Want another paddle? I have an extra. Another age will look back on this period of time and they'll say, these people had the technology, they had the wealth, they could have solved their problems, but they didn't choose to. And it's greed that is a big part of why we don't choose to. Greed in the sense of not giving up old ideas, like the Catholic Church and its inability to recognize free choice for women. Greed in terms of the old fossil fuel-based industries. Governments that don't want to give up the power they have for something they don't know about. In Lancaster, a beautiful aqueduct carries the canal over the River Loon. Here's where I get off the canal and join the rivers. I'll paddle up the Loon Valley. I feel a step closer to what I really love. Oh, the Loon. The Loon. Oh, there's something great about a river. Just to see the breadth of it. Oh, yes, all that canal. Baptizing. Martlets. You're clean again. Dear Mom, I'm halfway through my trip. The letter I'm carrying to Lord Forbes isn't getting there too fast, but at least I haven't had to suffer any rain, sleet, or snow so far. The weather's been great. I'm getting a good tan. Wish you were here. Love, Rob. But camping out is delicious because no matter how it looks or what it is, you love to eat it.
especially when you haven't had anything to eat all day, which is my case tonight.
No, I'm not eating beef. I was lucky there hadn't been much rain, but having low water on the loom meant a lot of walking, poling, and carrying the canoe when the water wasn't deep enough.
That's a silly way to get a letter to anybody. I think it makes you appreciate things like the Pony Express or the post office. No one really will ever know how trouble it was. It's gonna be a little tricky here. Yeah, a big pool. Totally wet. Totally wet. I got lazy, and I tipped over. I got soaked. Oh, you idioto! Soaked.
I just try to thin out some of these rhododendrons. I hate these purple ones, which grow like a weed here.
I was rescued by a local who offered to take me to his house to dry out.
Okay. You've chosen the right day to come. Here we are.
Oh my. This is where we are?
This is it.
Well, this is,
Just caught the end of the azaleas and the rhododendrons. Which are looking quite good. There we are.
everything was wet, totally wet. Henry suggested I stay for dinner. He said he was having friends over anyway, and another place at the table was no bother.
I caught one fish. The only person who caught lots was the one chap who was rowing. And we were getting tangled up and losing our bait and everything. And he just went on fishing quite happily, roaring laughter. He caught, I mean, a basket full like this. And I caught one. Nobody knew I'd gone out. Nobody else knew that where I'd gone. Anyway, lucky, feverish time out.
My mother has, of course, but my mother's great one was the gypsy lady who came to the front door asking for food. She was told to go to the back door, to the kitchens, and on the way round she died.
Oh no!
Which was rather a blow.
It's a long way to the kitchens, mind you.
Well, it's a long way to the kitchen. It's all the way around the back drive.
Mile and a half. Through there, Nigel. Upstairs.
Quite, exactly.
The email, which is only 7 miles.
Oh, God. I don't know why I'm so nervous, but I'm just nervous.
Henry had told me to expect trouble in the next valley, going down the Eden River, where I might meet people unsympathetic to canoes. And I did. The man was furious. I had the camera running, but didn't dare film him.
I'm beginning to think there might be a difference between those who own the land and those who own the fishing or rent the fishing rights. Or are you both?
No, I don't own the land. We own the fishing rights, the water, the whole of the riverbed. The whole of the waterway is owned in its entirety. But where the fishing is exceptionally good, people pay high prices. But you bring in the one thing which creates the biggest problem for us, the canoe. I have had a couple of instances where canoes have tried to travel, and I've stopped them because they have no rights up here. It's not navigable, it's purely privately owned.
The next day it happened again.
But it's definitely official, don't worry.
No, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to abide by it, too. I hope you realize that.
But the trouble is, I mean, they've been taken in with various things too often to just say, oh, you go and carry on, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fine.
And I mean, you got into trouble, not me.
Well, my brother gave me these before I came on my trip. And I didn't know why when he gave them to me. But I think I had a clue today. I think he was pointing out something between cowboys, Indians, and fences. And I have to remember that I'm an Indian. And I have to stick up for those things that Indians believe in, even though they may not win.
I know when I'm outnumbered. I got a ride to Carlisle, flagged down a taxi, and headed for the border.
Here, Arno. There's the sign that you're looking for.
Oh, yeah, welcome
to Scotland.
To Scotland. Great. Hello.
You're now in Scotland.
I'm a happy man. I like, the English are fine, but being more Scotch than English, I'm happy to be on my home ground.
My route took me to the west coast of Scotland, where I had several hundred miles of ocean to cross to reach Fort William. Paddling a small canoe over open water is risky, so I looked for a ride on a boat heading north.
Hello. Are you going north this evening? To Oban. How would you like to have a hitchhiker?
Aye.
I wondered if I could, I'm trying to get up to Oban.
Yeah.
And I wondered if I could hitch your ride. I have a small canoe and a pack. Would that be all right?
Yeah, no problem. You get it right.
Oh, that would be great. Good. Well, I'm Robert.
Sean.
Hello, Sean.
That's Keith.
Keith. Hi, Keith.
Michael.
Michael.
And that's...
Vlad.
The last time we did this trip in September, it was pouring rain and it was a 4-7 gale blowing. And Mike had just picked up the boat and we were complete amateurs. Instead of using the charts to navigate, we had an 80 road map. We came right up the coast.
This has got to be the fastest ride to Oban on record. After we landed, I offered to buy them a pint, but it quickly became several.
We've got the beer sorted, yeah. Thank you.
What are you drinking? I'll buy you one.
Lager.
What?
Lager.
Well, you tell him. I don't understand what you're saying.
Lager.
Oh, a lager?
Same as you are, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to walk over.
Yeah, they will see the show. And what I've been trying to do is to raise a consciousness and not rake a lot of money. I'd like people to appreciate nature a little better than they have.
I woke up a little late the next day, but I still needed a ride to Fort William. I was welcomed on board the Malcolm Miller, a sail training ship that was going north. She had just picked up a new crew. It was hard to fit in, but I tried.
I think we should start turning. Soon after that's around, I think.
Wheels at midships!
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
Take those ropes off the mast, down to the ship's side, and around a pin. Right, over there on the pin rail are two halyards.
I'd rather because I feel
I
badly.
want to hear you when you're shouting heave when you were pulling. I couldn't hear you.
Well, I have a loud voice. I didn't
Oh,
want
the
to
excuses.
let it out of its bag.
Man, nothing but excuses.
2, 6, heave! 2, 6! I can't hear you! 2, 6! 2, 6! Heave! 2, 6! Heave! 2, 6! Heave! 2, 6! Heave!
This was the first of the Highlands I'd seen. From Fort William, I paddled east over Loch Laggan toward the river Spey.
That's great. That's much bigger.
I was on familiar ground. Even the rocks reminded me of the north.
God, look at this. This is it. I found that Pieces of Solitude here. Yeah. I'd love to take it and just sort of roll it up in a little ball. Eat it and have the solitude in me. Oh, that's great.
The Spey is a big, solid river. Felt great to be running downstream. I thought I'd meet salmon fishermen, but instead I met a fisherman of a different sort.
You found these?
Uh-huh.
These are what?
Pearls. Freshwater pearls. That's a nice one. The little one's there.
Why?
Because that's a nice colour, that.
Now, how much would this be worth?
A really good one.
A really good one.
Well, that one there.
Big one.
Uh-huh. If that was really good, you would get £100.
You what?
Mm-hmm. If it was really good. I mean, it's not the money aspect I do it for. It's the pleasure and the hope that one day that you'll open a shell and get a really big pearl. That's why I do it mainly. I'll have to kill this one because there's sometimes pearls underneath them. See? See them?
Oh, the little guys.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
And I've been at it now for 9, 10 years now.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's how you get them.
These are rat-ass ragged rapids here. Shit. No way. No way. If you forget the power of water,
and you tip over. Even if the sun's out, you could kill yourself. And I think I had been carried away by the thought that I'm almost through the end of the trip in the beautiful weather that is this day. And boy, I got flipped. This is a good one. Well, I'm waiting for the last leg of my trip. I'm just about in Strathdon, where I was told I'd find some of the Forbeses that I've been looking for. And I got about 12 miles to go. And I'm hoping to get there before it starts raining harder or that it gets dark. Oh, I think we're going to do it. I think they might do it. Yeah, right, bye, right. In the way to they're not supposed to exist. Wouldn't they? Yeah. Well, they have to exist if you want to do. The first Forbeses I met couldn't tell me much about the family. But I soon ran into a man who could.
You don't influence the sun.
Right.
And over your shoulder here, and it hangs down. So that's not right down. You see, it's not far enough up. It's not far enough this way, you see? Now.
Gibby had a kilt shawl made of Forbes tartan, and he showed me how to wear it. He knew a lot about the clan, and he told me that not far down the road, I could deliver my letter to Lord Forbes.
That is put in there.
The Descries come in, they come from the Niau lot. They are a branch of the Niau Forbeses, and the Niau Forbeses are a branch of the Sligo Forbeses.
Yes.
And the original Sligo Forbes was a brother of the first Lord Forbes.
I have this from Murray. It's come a distance with me from Greenwich. I'm afraid it's...
How very exciting.
It comes from Murray.
Yeah.
To you.
Now, let me get this right. This is Murray Senior.
Yes, Murray Senior. The
explorer and traveller. Well, that's somebody of my heart, absolutely.
I had felt a little silly. I didn't really know what to say to a lord. I didn't think we had much in common, but he was a kindred spirit. Someone who would rather talk about nature than family, who'd rather take me to see an osprey nest than his castle.
Along the road.
Ah, yes, there she is, yeah.
Is she sitting?
Yeah. She's on the nest.
On the nest?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had been curious, and I thought I was journeying to the roots of my family, but something strange happened along the way. I began to realize my connection was with this landscape and not the family tree. Aren't the dreams we dream as a child and the stories we hear then as much a part of home as an address? As a child, I dreamed of wilderness, of being Huck Finn. I heard stories about my ancestors in fairy tale castles. They seemed unreal to me then, and in a way they still do. The trees and fields shimmered in the late evening sun. The castle seemed to grow out of the land like some fabulous tree ancient, silent, rich in secrets. No one lives here now, but it was once a nest for the dreams of people who came to the New World. My ancestors left this landscape, and I have returned. I feel the connection with family, but it's in this green world, among its community, where I know what matters most.